Carve your own path, the Dharam lesson. The city was a river of people, cars, and notifications flashing across screens. Every corner was lit up with billboards, glittering shop windows, and digital displays showing perfect lives. Kids traveling around the world, athletes with extraordinary performances, influencers with millions of followers. Amid all that modern chaos lived Michael, a guy like many others, carrying an invisible weight on his shoulders. He had dreams, ambitions, worked hard to better himself, and yet, every day, he couldn't help but constantly compare himself to others. He scrolled through his feed while walking down the street. Every image felt like a reminder of what he wasn't. He saw a former schoolmate of his showing off a luxury car, and thought, if only I were that enterprising and good at business. He watched a video of a guy pulling off insane stunts and thought, if only I were that athletic and agile. He discovered digital artists creating breathtaking work inside, if only I had that kind of talent. Each scroll chipped away at his self-esteem. The more he looked, the more stuck he felt. No matter how hard he tried, it seemed like the world was always one step ahead. One evening, walking distractedly through the city with music in his headphones, Michael almost tripped in front of a dusty little shop squeezed between two sleek modern buildings. The time-worn sign read, "Dharam, carve your own path." It looked completely out of place, like something from another era. Moved by curiosity, Michael pushed open the door and stepped inside. The shop was small, filled with shelves of statues and rough stone blocks. The floor was covered in marble chips and granite dust. Behind the counter, an elderly man with hands shaped by years of labor was carving a sculpture. The man looked up and smiled. "Welcome, son. What brings you here?" Michael hesitated for a moment, then, without even knowing why, the words came out on their own. "I feel lost. No matter how hard I try, there's always someone better than me. It's like everyone else already knows where they're going. And I'm stuck." The old sculptor stared at him for a moment, then gently invited him to follow. In one corner of the shop, there were two large blocks of stone, one of smooth, refined white marble, the other of rough, dark granite. "Tell me," he said, "if I wanted to sculpt a statue, do you think I could treat these two the same way?" Michael shook his head. "I don't know much about it, but I guess not." Exactly. Marble is soft and allows for finer details, while granite is more resistant, but requires a different method to work it. And yet, both can become masterpieces. Then he took a chisel and caressed the surface of the granite. "You know what the problem is with most people? They spend their lives trying to be something they're not, and can never be. A granite block will never be marble. And marble will never be granite. But that doesn't make one better than the other. The key isn't trying to become someone else, it's figuring out who you are and sculpting the best version of yourself." Michael said nothing. But something inside him shifted. "So, have I been doing it all wrong?" The sculptor smiled. "If granite tried to be fragile like marble, it would break. If marble tried to be hard like granite, it would shatter. Each one has its purpose, its value. Their strength lies in their uniqueness. Your job isn't to imitate others. It's to discover what you're made of, and carve your own path." And Michael got it. It wasn't about being better than anyone else, it was about becoming the best version of himself. For the first time, he saw the world with different eyes. From that day on, he stopped wasting hours comparing himself to lives that weren't his. Instead of looking at what others had, he started focusing on what he had. It wasn't an instant transformation. There were moments of doubt, days when comparison crept back in. But each time, he remembered the sculptor's words. Discover who you are, and carve your own path. He began pouring his energy into something he truly loved, graphic design. And soon he realized, he had an incredible eye for detail. As he worked on his projects, he noticed something. He too, like a statue, was slowly taking shape. After months of dedication, his talent started getting noticed. Michael had built something of his own and eventually opened his first studio. He hadn't become the richest, the strongest, or the most famous. But he'd become the best at what he loved. And whenever someone asked him the secret to his success, he always answered with a smile. If you try to be someone else, you'll always be a pale copy. But if you carve yourself, you'll become a one-of-a-kind masterpiece.